Welcome back to Seablock, and you can see I've got 3 whole yellow belt lines coming through here, full of crushed stone, and I've got some crystal dust on them as well. Slight problem is I'm currently short of sulfuric acid, which is why this is not really being processed very fast, but I guarantee you that if I had enough sulfuric acid, then it would be, I'd be able to cope with more than 2 belts, so that's why I've got 3 going. And I don't have a perfect 3-3 belt balancer. One of these days I will show you one of them. It's not really worthwhile me making one at the moment, because these are fairly self-balancing in that if one thing gets blocked, it backs up and then something else takes over and basically stops the output while that is being processed. But, you know, I'm not going to worry about it just yet. I've just got these 2 to somewhat balance it. It's not perfect, but it'll actually get us started. And we're going to continue on today, not thinking too much about this whole thing. We're going to leave this alone. It is producing ores. You see iron on its way up there. Not very much, but iron, copper. You see tin is being produced here, so we can actually make yet more basically yellow tier stuff. And that's easy enough to do. And of course, we've got lead here as well. So today I thought we'd get a bit of a break and then go and look at alumina. So alumina is a fancy term for really dealing with aluminium. So if we or aluminum, if you want to think about it like that, aluminum. Either way, we're going to need to basically get advanced aluminium smelting done, and that needs a couple of things. First, one of the things we just heard beeping just then, the chlorine processing. The other thing is powder metallurgy, and that gets us a few other things. Sintering ovens, you'll see that needed clay bricks, so we needed clay bricks to get this far, and a powder mixer, which pretty much needs exactly the same thing. So that's going to get started, and then once we get to that then we are going to get the ability to make aluminum hydroxide, or aluminium hydroxide, alumina, and then of course aluminium ingots. So why don't we take a look at the journey we're going to need to do to actually get that going. To get to alumina, or rather let's just see what we use alumina for. We use it to basically make ceramic filters, and that means we don't have to think about sending charcoal up here. We're going to be using charcoal for another recipe anyway, so we will need some of it, but we don't need to think about charcoal over here once we get to ceramics. And of course ceramic filters can be used just as we've done before. Can convert slag slurry to mineral sludge, crystal slurry to mineral sludge, etc. And this one, which we haven't done yet, which is crystal slurry to crystal seedling, which of course you can then, well, I say of course, which you can then turn into a variety of things. Crystal catalysts are the obvious one. Crystal catalyst, then you then turn into other ores, of course, and you can make basically the pure ores. So instead of getting a mix of stuff out of here, you can basically get exactly what you want rather than anything else. That's into advanced ore refining. So it's a further on our journey towards making basically selections for each ore type that we want. Now, aluminium ore we can get from Jivolite, but we've told you before that you can make Jivolite using our existing sort of mineral sludge. You just change the recipe up on it. So if we just go back through that Jivolite ore, it's just mineral sludge and we can already make it. It's green, so that's fine. We haven't got to Jivolite chunks yet, but that's the next sort of processing step. And from there, we can do a few other things. While I'm thinking on about that, I'm just wondering what would it be for chunks of our existing stuff. So what if we went for sapphirite chunks? Could we actually do that reasonably? Crushed sapphirite, which is what we're currently using, and that is currently being made in here. That's being converted over here, being sorted, and it turns into, well, it turns straight into iron and copper. But if we take 2 of it, we can process it into sapphirite chunks and basically get geodes for free and sulfuric waste water for free. And that would sit between these 2 things. We'd then take sapphirite chunks and we can go to sapphirite crystals, or indeed we can combine it with other things. In particular, however, I want to see what we get out of it. So yeah, if we just push it through a hydro refiner, oh sorry, through ore sorting facility, but it's hydro refining research, you get iron, copper at this, just the same way we are right now, same amounts, same thing with slag, but you also get a little bit of silicon and nickel as well. I'm already getting those from other things, so I'm not worried about it just yet. There is obviously the other thing to get to crystals, which then gets purified. We can get titanium that way. Titanium is going to be very useful. But let's just go back to crystals again, and then we can process it a little bit further. Yeah, we get a little bit of titanium if we process crystals again in an ore sorting facility. The problem is when you start doing this, you start to have 6 different outputs, so you need 6 different lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would have to be here, which would be a little bit hard to actually sort stuff out. Regardless, we're not there yet. So back to alumina it is. Let's just, oops, chunks, sorry. And let's look at the Jivolite chunks, the outputs. So aluminium and zinc are the other byproducts, and we're going to get that through hydro refining. Is there any other way I can get through to alumina? Let's just take a look. Alumina. So let's just see. Sodium aluminate, carbon dioxide, sodium hydroxide. That also gives us sodium carbonate. That's smelting 3. We don't want smelting 3 just yet. It's a little bit far off. Smelting 3. Smelting 1. Yes, that's definitely the one we want. So aluminium hydroxide. And there's only a couple of ways of getting that. And either way, it's going to come from aluminium ore, I think. So processed aluminium is just an extra step from aluminium ore. Either way. So 12 aluminium ore or 3 processed aluminium. Sorry, 4 processed aluminium. So that is basically the equivalent of 8 aluminium ore. So 8 aluminium ore or 12 aluminium ore. So clearly we want this one, but it means we've got quite far to go. We're not, let's not do that. Let's do the easy recipe first of all. So this is the one we want, which means we want this aluminium smelting. That can start research. And then we need to get sodium hydroxide, which is saline. And that's where the chlorine processing comes in, because we can split saline up into, as you might imagine, chlorine, which is the Cl part of things, and sodium hydroxide, obviously the sodium, the Na side of things, out of salt, and sodium hydroxide, of course, is what comes out of that, and we get chlorine and hydrogen. Chlorine is useful for lots of other things as well. Yeah, lots and lots of other things, but I'm not going to worry about it just yet. I just want the sodium hydroxide, and that's just it's going to come straight from saline in an electrolyzer. And we know we've got plenty of electrolyzers free because, hey, we just tore them all up from what they were previously doing, which is just generating slag. So, yeah, that's sodium hydroxide. And then aluminium ore, that's where we need to consider what's the easiest thing to get to. And in order to process the Jivolite, we need the Jivolite chunks, which I'm going to need to research, and that is only one thing, that's just hydro refining. So hydro refining, and that will get us started. So that can go. And we also get all the other type of chunks as well. We get the flotation cell itself, which needs the clay bricks, which is why we did all the clay bricks first. All the different types of chunks, which we can use multiple of them to get the aluminium ore. There's, I think the rubite one allows us the root. In fact, let's just take a look. So aluminium ore. Come on, I know you're in there somewhere. You don't like that particular spelling? How about alum capitals? No. How about ores? I know you're in here somewhere. Crust Jivolite? No. I want aluminium, please. Yep. That really annoys me about FNEI. I definitely am typing that incorrectly. It's not allowing it. Anyway, Jivolite chunks. This allows us to get aluminium and zinc and also some iron and copper. It's probably what we're going to go for because I get extra iron and copper, basically. We also can then get it from rubite chunks as well, but then I get extra lead and nickel, and I don't really want extra lead and nickel. And there's bombonium as well, and I get extra tin and silicon. That's actually more useful. Don't have any cobalt yet, but that's going to come in as well. But I think we just want more and more iron and copper for the moment. So we want to go for Jivolite, which is to crush Jivolite through hydro refining and a flotation cell, or however many of them we need. Before I fix that, however, I'm going to need to just fix this, which is just our this is just our mud root, and I'm going to do it just to fix my sulfuric acid problem, which is I don't have any specifically. Let's get rid of that, get rid of that, and that will give us, or give me some room to actually dump some here. So pick up and sorry, pick up position, drop position. There it goes. And this is just going to basically start producing exactly what we want. Heavy mud water we need to get rid of. Why are you not running? You should be heavy mud water. Why are you not flare stack? Why am I going to put it into flare stack? Flare stack is for gases. We need a clarifier. I forget about these things sometimes. Let's just put it there, shall we? And let's just, in fact, no, I need that pipe. There it goes. And let's pick that up, put it over here. There it goes. All right, so that should start producing basically our hydrogen sulfide that we need. And of course, I can then get more of this going. Where are the other washing plants I created? I'm going to need not an extra 1 room. I'm going to need an extra 2 room here. So we need to get that pointing in the right direction like that. And then we can just copy and paste, etc. Get this running. So that's going to have to go all the way over to here. Yeah, this one is going to go basically to here. And then the output we can just basically connect directly. And then that's pretty much going to be it apart from the waste, which we can connect like this. And finally, hook everything up. We need a little bit of power, but otherwise fine. It's all just going to be straight pipe sections. We'll just get those made. There's the water, that's basically the muddy water. And that's starting to produce, and then we can just do the same thing here and copy and paste. Okay, so I don't know exactly how much hydrogen sulfide we're going to need, but more than we currently have is a safe bet, and it's all being consumed, so that's good. We can also extend this array wherever we want it to as in future as well. We can put it inside a building if we want, but that just sorts out at least the initial shortage, and we'll see how many more I actually need to keep that running. And of course we should see when things start processing faster here. You can see some of it's already being processed, and is that already started flowing through? Not yet. It'll take a little while to get through. Right, back to alumina then. We need to wait for this hydro refining to be done, and then we can start building some bits and pieces. I'm going to, just for a temporary sort of setup, I'm going to think about, again, just like we got here, we've got, this is the tin production thing. I'm going to think about maybe putting it over here, and then we'll move it across a little bit to the left once everything's in the right position eventually. So we've got a nice temporary location for stuff. And I guess I should think about maybe reproducing this sort of bit in the next building across. We're going to want to at least have some crystallizers. When I say crystallizers, I think they're the actual blocks that we need. Okay, let's just lay them out. And as normal, we'll just have those. And then we want crystallizing to Jivolite ore. Yeah, I'll do. Let's get some more pipe in. Copy and paste that out, and then as normal we'll just grab it from there and then drop it onto a belt. Let's put the belt sort of going this way. Okay, this is a bit speculative as to how many we need. We'll see about that front exactly. There we go. Okay, and then just as before. Okay, so we've got one. Oh no, that needs to be reconfigured. Yeah, there we go. Copy, paste, paste. And as long as we've got some input here, we'll start getting Jivolite. Now from the Jivolite itself, which is going to be Jivolite ore, we then need to process it. So Jivolite ore, we need to go to crush Jivolite. So as you normally expect, we're going to crush it. And that gets crushed, obviously. Then we have some options. In our case, we're going to want to go for hydro refining. So we need to process this once more. That means we need purified water in here, which we can get from regular water and a hydro plant. Okay, so regular water is going to have to come in here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make some water in here if I've got the room to do it, because I can always basically discard the saline and then everything else is pure. So why don't I just look for a hydro plant? Do I have one in my inventory? Do I have enough resources to make one? I do. And then we have to need to think about just the water input. Do we have any water input anywhere? Looks like we do, right here in fact. Is that going underground? It isn't, but it can do. Annoying. I was hoping that would go a little bit further. Yeah, and then, yeah, let me just put it there for argument's sake. So it's going to be up top here. There's water. Where's our water plant gone? Should be in my inventory. Hydro plant. Inputs and outputs. Oh, that's handy. I'm going to be blocking 2 of those. Or I'm going to be blocking a 4th plant there. I'm not sure which one we're going to need yet. So I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to make, there we go, saline and purified water. This is the saline on this side, so we are going to clarify again. Clarif. I'm going to need some more iron plate. Thankfully, I'm making that into a box up here, so there's 200 iron plate. Okay, and that's that done, and then we got the purified water here. First of all, let me just reverse these. Okay, just as we've done before, we're going to put a crusher or two. Yep, and then let's just go to crushed Jivolite, like that. That should do. Although I think what I'm probably going to do is just move them down a touch. Like that. And then we'll put them onto another belt. So let's just get another belt going this side, and then same thing can come out this way. Okay, and now we want that hydro refining, so I may have to actually wait until that comes through. However, I have got purified water here. Let me just take a look for the Jivolite chunk. That's the purified version. We can't get to that yet, I don't think. So crushed Jivolite, go into Jivolite chunks. It is in a flotation cell, and we can't build those, I don't think. Can we build those yet? Are they not part of an earlier research, are they? Flotation. Flotation. No, they are not. We have to wait for that to finish. Okay, things are starting to return to full speed now with that sulfuric acid no longer being 0. And you'll see it still looks like these are unpopulated, these belts. That's just because of a few things I haven't done yet in this bottom section. I haven't filled in the basically the mud lines that take the mud away from these end washing plants, but 2 extra washing plants over here purposefully just creating hydrogen sulfide is more than enough to get the shortage stopped over here. So this may well start building up again once I make more changes. Anyway, hydro refining is nearly done, and let's see just how much sand is being built up from various different places. So that's 1600 sand. Okay, so we're going to be getting plenty of space. Now, this is a good point to start talking briefly about what happens when you expand in Seablock. See right down there at the bottom right? See them right over there? Those are worms. Those are biters. Yes, and you only can expand so much before you start hitting biter nests. And at the top, you probably would be able to see on the map just up here as well. You'll be able to see it on here as well, but again, there are some more biters. So you need to start thinking about where you expand and how you expand at this particular point forwards. I do have some more expansion room to the left and down. Before I get to the biter nests up there and then the biter nests down there. So I have some significant room I can expand into, just not up and to the right, basically. Those are my options. Hydro refining is now done, so flotation cell can now be created. Cells, I should say. So flotation cells. What do I actually need? I need clay bricks. Thankfully, I have plenty of clay bricks. I did get a well, not a suggestion, but a sort of, it was a suggestion really, in that apparently you can use these clay bricks for basically, if I just put it down here, you can use them to just basically put down stuff down like this. Let's just bring it down to a small size, and you can use them as paving strips, and you could run, absolutely, you run faster on them than off them. And then just to compare that with, do I have stone bricks? I do. Okay, so I run that speed. I think it's the same speed on both, to be honest. Gotta be said. And you can replace one with the other perfectly fine. So either way, we're going to get stuff. This just happens to be free-ish. I'm not really using anything else to actually do this. So hey, take your pick. I quite like the clay bricks, but it takes a little while to make them. I've got like 5,000 though, so hey, they're certainly more populous than the stone bricks. So yeah, maybe we go for clay brick pavements. Oh, and it started to jam. Yeah, here we go. Well, not jam, but it started to really compress. You'll see I've now got 3 full belts running in, and you'll start to see some little bits piling back up here, particularly the blue, but it is somewhat self-balancing. And then back out here, you'll see they're all running, basically, all producing crystal slurry, and this belt is still being provided. What I really wanted to do is make sure that at this point right here, that this is fully compressed, and you can see it's mostly compressed, and the reason why it isn't is just an occasional hitch. So yeah, it's pretty much doing 1 full belt of crystal dust or whatever it's called. Crystal dust? Is it called crystal dust? Yes, cold crystal dust. Good. But again, back to alumina. So now, hopefully, I should be able to make the flotation cells. Flotation cells. Okay. Let's quickly take a look at what we can actually do. Well, what can we process this with? So flotation cell turns 2 into 2, so I don't have to do anything else whatsoever. And I'm going to get some purple geodes out of it. I'm going to get some fluoric wastewater. Purple geodes, well, we know where that can go, and it's right. Not coincidentally, I did put this in the right place. We can actually send out the purple stuff out of here, down, and remerge it right there, just before all of this. So we do want it fairly close. Fluoric wastewater, we can do a couple of things with. We can just basically void it if we want to, or we can pull fluoride out of it and then get some purified water back. So less work on our other hydro plants, I suppose. That doesn't mean we have to get another hydro plant and an extra level of technology, or just void it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to void it. Okay, so flotation cell, let me just make a couple. So let's just get those going. We are going to need another clarifier, that much is for certain. Clarifier. And let's just get that down. So there is my flotation cell. And do I, well, my input's going to have to go like that, I think. And then maybe my clarify can go at the bottom. So let's just put these down. My clarify is nearly made. And there it is. So let's just put it there for now. And we're going to select Jivolite, this one as well. That will then have a couple of outputs. So we need to just think about those outputs. We need to get some pipe work. Okay, so that can go there. Also over here. And then, oh, that's actually a bit problematic. I need space for belts. Let's just go for underground then. Okay, yep, that will do. And then we can just get a couple of inserters and some belt. Like this. And then that should produce everything we need. Oh no, hang on. That's going to also produce... That's fine. We'll just filter it out via way of a splitter. And we'll just split them up into two different things. One we're just going to send out to maybe here. And maybe one there. Or we'll process it in here. Either way. Inserters. We're getting a couple going in. And that's everything I think we need to get started. We just need to connect this up. And then consider everything else. So the inputs over here, we're going to have to feed in from this side. But of course, I will do that mostly off camera. Just want to get all of that done. So that's going to be there. Okay. And we need a few more. But I'll connect it up and bring you back. And there's the first purple sort of geodes joining the list. There's not going to be many coming through, so we don't have to worry about splitters or anything. I've passed through the slag just as before. Not that it needs to be honest, but we are going to be getting slag from this whole process over here. You'll see there are these multiple different things on the outputs, so we can configure them. The slag is going to be on the bottom belt, so all we need to do to deal with that is something like this, then a filter inserter, and we'll grab that. We're probably going to have a filter inserter on the other side as well, but let's just set this a whitelist to slag. That's going to output just fine. That leads 4 different things. That's why we're going to have a filter inserter on the other side, basically saying basically the opposite. So this is going to be on this belt, okay, and we'll just basically say blacklist, and this is going to set to slag. So anything but slag, it's going to output onto here, and we can just feed this out of the top. As we've done before, we have a line heading out of this base and heading out with various ores on it. And we are going to want to split them, but that split is going to be basically however the heck we want at this point. For instance, we can just get some of them to be put into boxes if we don't particularly want them. And then we're going to need to have some kind of center over here. Now, there is one exception, of course, in that we're going to want to first filter out the iron and copper, because that is going to be useful to go over here into this one, which requires a little bit of work with various belts. So we need at least a couple of splitters, and I may not have enough room to put another building here. I may have to split things off or have a pass-through probably going to look nicer. So if I have a splitter here, hopefully I can have one here and one here, and then split. So iron ore on the first one. Ore. Show me iron ore. It's going to be here somewhere. Iron ore. Really, is that many things with iron ore in it? Okay, iron ore. Splitting left. And then if I just go and pick all this up, dump it inside, we should start seeing that popping out. So let's just grab, where's my iron ore? There it is. Okay. I have to put some other belt here, like that. And then this one is going to be copper ore. And this time I can just select it, which is about typical. And then that, again, should let me filter that. So I can send both of these left, 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 underneath, back around, and then merge, as you would normally expect. Hopefully, assuming that this works. Is that going to get jammed? It's going to get jammed, isn't it? Yeah, why is it? These should be able to connect right next to these. These should be able to connect right next to these. I'm sorry, that's just needed. It's essential. I need to have them one further away as well. Oh, that's going to be problematic. Yeah. So maybe what we do... Can we have any room inside to just filter iron and copper sideways? No, not there. I may have to rejig this, which is doable by all means. Let me just rework that. And there's the rest of our ore. Well, with a couple more belt. So we should have both iron and copper filtered off. Iron is coming off earlier and is coming out in here, at the back here. And then the rest is going to go forward, which gives me one extra room to basically think of a pass-through system going forward to deal with the rest. And I don't have to worry about it for now. All this is going to go over here and just merge with these belts as and when we get an extra spare coming out of there. And then over here, let's just take a look what we need to do. We need to deal with the other output, which is going to be crushed stone as normal. I don't really have any way of dealing with that right now. Crushed stone is getting diverted from here. It's not currently passing through. That would be nice if I could just pass it through. I also want basically the geodes out of here as well. So the alternative is maybe I put another splitter in and then put them out onto this belt here. Do I have room for a pass-through? Well, maybe. Because I could put it through like here and then just make sure I filter everything back out. But then I need to, yeah, this only has a single filter. So I've got to be quite careful about that. Not sure whether I should or not, but if I do, it'll have to be like this. And then a second filter going on a little bit earlier. And then a third filter again, which is going to be a bit of a pain. Example, right here, I can say crushed stone. Okay, and any crushed stone that comes through will go onto this belt, which is just going to go out like this. And then the crushed stone is going to pass through all the way to the end then, and then I have to filter it out down here somewhere and bring it around, just as I've done before. So again, another filter there, basically a splitter. And wherever I put it, right, and then filter crushed stone out. Crushed stone. And then that can go wherever. And at this point, I can pretty much build more belt, run this belt through. It will come all the way through and back out of here. So I can then reroute it all down and then around if I actually want to do that. But I'm not quite decided on that just yet. In any case, that should free up things once we deal with this crushed stone here, which means I'm going to want to just basically have another splitter and filter that out. So let me just do that and I'll bring you back. And the reason behind me doing that is just this. Okay, so all the crushed stone that comes out of the crushers is going to get filtered right here. Is going to be added to the pass-through belt and then should end up nicely basically bypassed. I think what I can actually do here is just basically filter the other way and not be worried about it. So let me just cut that off for 1 second and just filter that to be the Jivolite chunks, wherever they are. Jivolite. Okay, Jivolite chunks. Filter left instead of right. And then that can all basically get simplified like that. And then everything else will go the other way. Yep, good. All that's going to go out and then get pulled into separate sections out here. And then, of course, we can go down and around. A little bit clumsy, I know, but should still be doable. And then we can pull all this stuff off this side. This side can go in. And I need to make a couple more, but not really much of a problem there. Let's just get that going in. And coming out this side. Okay. All that's restarted, and of course I need to move this, or at least just put some extra belt in here, etc., something like that. That will do perfectly fine. Now I can reorganize it later. And of course we're getting our purple geodes going that way. So everything is now working. This is not piling back. It's just basically waiting on mineral sludge from other metals. That's all going to process. That's all going to process. This is going to start producing, and then out here it will be sending outwards and upwards. So yeah, we've got aluminium ore. And, well, basically other stuff, but we don't need to worry about that just yet. So, so processed aluminium ore, that's basically what we can produce with it. So we need the sodium hydroxide, which we can just make with saline water in an electrolyzer. That should be easy enough. We are going to need the saline water. Of course, we do have a machine inside that's producing saline water. Not sure if it's going to actually be that useful, so I'm going to just basically do the exact opposite just to have an independent source. And that means one hydro plant. Water is going to be the input on this one, of course, and then I'll put that there. This is going to be just chosen to be that. Yeah, there we go. So saline water is going to be this one, which means the clarifier is going to go on the other side, and let's get that made. Clarifier made. The other side, then we just need to stick an electrolyzer. Okay, and that electrolyzer we can just put wherever we like, probably after the clarifier, of course. And then we'll just connect this to that, and then the clarifier in wherever it is. There, oops, players in the way. Small electric poles in the way. I may have to reroute that, otherwise I'm going to have to cut off all the power to everywhere. There we go, that should work. Yep, no more power cut off, and there we go. So this is going to take the saline water, and I'm going to produce chlorine, hydrogen, and sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide we are going to basically put onto a belt. So I'm going to basically filter off here. For now, we'll replace this with a building later. But for the moment, we're going to basically filter to the right, going to be the aluminium ore. Okay, it's right, that is. So let's just make sure that that is working. Where's my aluminium ore? Drop that on the belt there. Okay, and drop... What was the other ore that was on here? It can't be very much. Zinc. Okay, zinc can go there. Yep, that isn't making it through, and this is perfectly fine. So we're going to have this belt going here. Onto that belt, we're then going to be able to dump out the sodium hydroxide, at least temporarily, without worrying about it more than we should. Let's just get some more belt going. And then the other two we don't really need at the moment. It's chlorine and hydrogen, but we're probably going to need them later, but for the moment we can just flare stack them. Flare stack them, 1, 2. I've already got one in my inventory. There's one, and the second one should be along shortly. That will then free this up to basically produce a sodium hydroxide at will, and we'll just basically fill up this belt entirely, which we can feed wherever we want to. I'm going to just think about setting this up to be long-handed, pick up drop, like that. And I'm not going to worry too much about balancing it out or anything just yet. And I need one more power pole. Really matter power poles? There we go, power poles. Okay. You should be running when everything else is running, which means I'm just short of water. And the water I can feed it to here. So let's just get that finally hooked up. Yep, so that should do the job with one connection. That's running. This is now going to be running. Yep. There's our sodium hydroxide, and that's going onto the wrong side of the belt. I want to keep it on its own side. Other than that, that's all working. Good. So sodium hydroxide, whoops. Sodium hydroxide, helps if I put that on there. And yes, so now we're just going to basically do a quick processing of that. So that's alumina. And alumina is a blast furnace from aluminium hydroxide, which is just both of these combined. So we need a powder mixer followed by a blast furnace. We should already be able to make them. Powder mixer. Yeah, we can. And then I may already have a blast furnace. Oh, I've got some induction furnace. Have I got a blast furnace anywhere? Let's just add another one to the list. Okay, so one powder mixer. Let's just put it there for now. Okay. And get that going with the belt. There's our sodium hydroxide. And helps if I swap my hotbars around. But that's fine. That's going to take this in, which just needs another inserter right there. Let's just actually sort this out. And off it goes. Sodium hydroxide. At that point, we'll just feed this into a blast furnace. We are going to need a source of fuel, basically, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to just feed that in manually for the moment, and then get this going. So there is our aluminium ingot. We can't do that just yet. Ingredients, no. I want the alumina first of all. Yeah. So that's that sorted, and we just need some basically fuel, which is what we've got right there. And power pole, of course. Okay, so it's just waiting for 12 aluminium basically, and nothing else. That will then feed into here, and then we'll start getting a meager supply of alumina, and we'll need to deal with that later, you know, to make that a little bit better. But for now, of course, I should be okay. I think the whole chain is done. There's probably an efficiency to be done here, but I will leave that for the commenters to complain about, as normal, as you should, of course, as you should indeed. And we can cover that in the next episode when we decide what we're going to do with the zinc, etc., and everything else. But other than that, it's been a good episode. We've got all the way to alumina from pretty much nothing as far as that's concerned, just mineral sludge. All of this is continuing to run quite nicely and is producing crystal slurry, but of course we are using it at exactly, well, as much as we possibly can do. You'll see a lot of iron and copper is now coming through. I am using it up fairly quickly inside, both inside the factories, which is now starting to back up, which is good, but also handcrafting still. We want even more iron. I just want it just to be flowing so that I can't see any belt. I just want it to be full. It's going to take a long while to get there, though. It's hard start is Seablock, but it's well worth it if you want to give it a try. If you enjoyed the episode, give it a like. So thumbs up is always appreciated, of course. You can subscribe and click on the bell for notifications for more episodes. And of course, we'll see you next time for some more Seablock. As always, guys, thanks for watching.